the UK government is not trying to recruit teachers from Nigeria. Like you said, international politics, grabbing power, all of these economic indices that also culminate into international power being taken away from Nigeria. Is Nigeria really serious in making economic and security national headway with all of these problems on our face?
Yes, that's a very interesting question. Nigeria currently is operating under the theoretical framework of frustration and aggression.
Frustration and aggression.
Yes, frustration aggression theory. It is the frustration that is leading to aggression. So most of the happenings and actions are just consequences of frustration. And we were just discussing someone went to the hospital trying to molest the doctor on duty. It is out of frustration. Even this bill that we are talking about is also out of frustration. That now is now making the bill to be aggressive.
That's a serious one.
So this frustration
is a product of frustration.
Yes, that has led to make it aggressive.
Okay, that's interesting.
So people are leaving Nigeria. The Japa syndrome is a syndrome of frustration of aggression. Because people are frustrated. They are aggressive. When you look at, just take a walk around and look at the countenance of people, you will see aggression, well written. But when you go to other countries, you see, that calmness human being look. That shows that there is something. But like I said, that understanding international system, international politics, international relations is also key for any country or any nation that wants to transform. There is a yardstick that is used to measure countries around the world. Some countries have been labeled failing states with its characteristics. These characteristics are measured according to the extent in which that country is adhering to the nature of the failure that is expected from it. There are some countries that have been characterized through the measurement and the yardstick as failed states. There are some that are measured as emerging economy. There are some industrialized and developed. It is a strata. When you now find a country that fall within its failing state, that has the capacity of emerging or moving to fail, you now measure. Then what are those things that we can see? That's why when you see these international NGOs coming out to talk about your country, that this is the level, these are the yardsticks. Now, characteristics of a failing state: the health sector must not be functional. Is the health sector in that country functional? Is not functional? Yes, it is justified. It's a failing state. The educational system must not be reliable. When they go on strike, there must not be attention paid, because this educational issue is also fundamental. It links with power. When you don't pay attention to the human capital, when you neglect the productivity of your country, then the same level of productivity that you neglect in your country are functional in another country. So when that structure now take over, they now make use of your own productivity that you neglected years ago to now become subjected to them. Then we withdraw them from your country, strengthen theirs, then continuously weakening yours. Therefore, moving from failing state to failed state.
And that's now, I don't know if you agree with me, it's also whittling down the sovereign powers of the nation.
Exactly. So what
comes sovereignty?
In international relations, sovereignty means that no external superior and no internal equal. The concept of no external superior is that you compete to an extent that you don't make another country to be superior to your country, to the extent that they will be taking your own manpower from you. When your manpower leaves your country, either voluntarily or involuntarily, that sovereignty
it's been threatened.
Yes, and globalization has even helped in weakening sovereignty. So the country must now come to understand foreign policy and to know that Nigeria is critical. Nigeria is powerful by population, by economy, but there is also something that translates that power into that potential power into kinetic power. When that power that transform potential to capability is not there, then the country will always be subjective. It will always follow another country.
Because of our time, it cannot all be pictures of gloom and doom, if you agree with me. There definitely will be the light at the end of this tunnel. Somebody was jokingly saying, why should you put the light at the end of the tunnel? I've gone through the tunnel. I'm just seeing the light. But then, on the more serious note, Dr. Aino, how do we get out of this bottleneck?
It's you catch me so speechless, and I'm asking myself which way forward. I think there must be a conversation.
You know, I'm asking you because in 20-something days' time, there'll be a change of guard to another administration. So perhaps there'll be a way to, in our own corner, put out a recommendation. Maybe that would help in forging the way ahead from this problem.
Thank you very much. You put it in such a way that it makes it very easy for me to add my voice. I think what we need to do is to have a conversation. I'm hoping that when the new government comes on board, let's have a conversation. Let's have those who are really interested in solving this problem. I think when we're able to make that conversation of where we are, where we ought to be, and how we will get to where we want to be. Like I said, in the medical space, you expect that you continue to see the government paying attention to primary healthcare, paying attention to tertiary healthcare, but there's no attention to secondary healthcare. You cannot transit from the primary healthcare to the tertiary healthcare without you must pass through the secondary. And of course, when we're talking about this, basically we're saying that the basic health provision fund, yes, good, but who is making provision for the secondary healthcare? It's meant to be in the states level, within the purview of the state, but at the same time too, we know that federal government must not leave all of these things to the hands of a few persons. So where I'm going to is, let there be a conversation. Let's see what the federal will be able to do with its state, and of course the local government. There must be a conversation on how we need to move out of this quagmire that we are in into a better space. I wish all of us the best. I see that in the next few days, let's see how it goes. Where there's a conversation on how to transit from the primary healthcare, secondary healthcare, and the tertiary healthcare, we will see how it goes.
Dr. Wajimbola, you provided a good background to the study, as it were, and then we've also been looking at the statement of the problem all along. Now we've come to the point, of course, many literature have been reviewed here. We've looked at Karl Marx perspective, we've looked at all other perspectives. Now, we've come to the point of recommendation. Okay. Dr. Wajimbola, is there hope for Nigerian health sector? Because we're talking about the health sector, do not know what will happen to the education sector. In fact, something is already happening to education. Something is already happening to security arena and many other areas of human endeavors. A new sheriff will soon be in town. It does not also mean that the current sheriff has done totally badly. But how do we have a better deal? Let's have a recommendation, Dr. Fadima.
Well, we must commend Nigeria as a country, especially in our democratic journey. We may take it for granted that democracy is surviving. In fact, that is a yardstick to measure the fact that there is hope for Nigeria, and that is forming a template for other African countries and other developing countries. Then Nigeria too must know that it is not alone in this global battle. Even in South Africa, similar problems have challenges. So the way Nigeria is going about is also commendable. But the sincerity must be there. We must have strong political will to back up decision and to back up policy that is workable and that will benefit the citizen. It is not a good omen for the citizen of a country to migrate to another country because of inability of his country to provide what it needs. Because even the country that he goes to, he will not be a citizen there. Even if he be a citizen, it will take some processing. Then, yes, one thing that we must understand is that there is a standardization of behavior, which most Nigerians have not yet complied with. And when they travel abroad, the primordial behavior within the country must be changed. So when you travel abroad, you must be born again. The born again that you refuse to be here in your country. So exactly, if the citizens do try to understand that they have many things to contribute to their country, instead of this blame game, because the blame game is all it affects everyone.
I presume you're talking about tax payment and all of that.
Okay.
People would also want to see value for their money. Because if you're talking about that, you are not seeing value for what I'm paying. How do I continue paying?
And
exactly.
We must also learn how to talk good of our country. Not always. In fact, when it is good, we still invent conversation that portray the country to be bad. Then we must guide against conspiracy of corruption. Conspiracy of corruption is when you label one sector as corrupt, one class of people as corrupt, while the same element of corruption is also taking place at the lower strata. That is conspiracy and hypocrisy of corruption. So if we can do that, then propaganda is important. In fact, countries make use of propaganda to be able to foster the good values in their country. Then finally, I will advise that it is high time we begin to involve a central ideology.
Central ideology?
Exactly. A nation without central, I'm not talking of political manifestos. A nation without central ideology will find it difficult to market itself beyond borders, because there's nothing you want to present on the table as your identity and your frame. But countries that have central ideology are the ones striving. China, it is not because China had more population than us, yet the country is making waves globally because there is a central ideology. Other countries, even America, United States of America, has central ideology.
Is that
United Kingdom,
a secular nation like ours?
China is more secular than us. Go and look at the language, the ethnicity and the languages in China. In America, go and look at the different ethnic races in they still unite. In fact, ours is manageable. So the fact that we are not one is still this part of neo-colonialism, because if we are made to think we are not one, it is possible, it makes it possible for those who are really stealing from the commonality pulse to continue to do so. So we must have central ideology that say this is Nigeria, I am Nigeria. Hardly will you see anybody that even see himself as Nigeria. You can't define the concept of Nigerialism in individual. That must stop.
I look forward to having more of you on State of the State. And honestly speaking, I do know that we will. I do not think that's a social contract. But there must be a way that we really have to discuss more on this platform across all the issues of national development. I must thank you especially for coming on the program today. Dr. Tudiva Jimbales of the International Relations Department. It is at the University, Laramokin. Dr. Femi, I must thank you so much for coming to represent the NMA on this matter. And I wish you the best in seeing to it that this does not sink the ship of the nation's health sector. Thank you so much for coming. Dr. Faj, thank you so much. Everyone, it's been nice having you with me on the program today. It returns next week, God willing. I am Sunday Kolawole. Please